am super happy with my mantle this year. I'm going to now take a few brief moments to go over all the different steps and the things that I did. I started by adding the 3M hooks to the actual fireplace mantle itself. And then over on the corners, I did the same thing, 2 here and 2 on the outside. Now, it doesn't seem like it would be that heavy, but honestly, garland is not lightweight. More importantly, what I put on top of it, including elephant pine cones, definitely not lightweight. I am going to use 2 separate garlands to do this. Why? Because rather than just go across the top of my mantle, I wanted to go across, down the sides, and actually drape on the floor. It's pretty romantic the way it turns out. So I'm going to use 1 9-foot on one side and 1 9-foot on the other side. If I start the garland right here in the center and I let it come out naturally, I'd want it to kind of dip down there, come up here and attach on this spot, and then come down and flow to the ground. Too much. I mean, there's such a thing as having a puddling garland, and then there's such a thing as having a flood, okay? This thing is flooding. That much I'm okay with. I bring this up here. That looks to me to be the right amount. Once I get my main characters up here, now this particular garland is pre-lit, which is nice. So I'm gonna plug this in now because if anything doesn't work from last Christmas, now's the time for me to get that bad news. Bam! Woohoo! And oh, good. Yay. All right, you are in great shape. I added those mango elephant pine cones to the actual garland. So take a look at this. Best part about using pine cones is you can use floral wire, which I've done many times. But I'm gonna run a pipe cleaner through that bottom row of pine cones, of little whoosy-whatsits. You create something great on either side as a corner end, like crescendo on the sides. When I do something on one side, I come over and I match it while it's still fresh in my mind. I match it on the other side. The next step was to start filling in the existing garland with things that were going to make it look lush and full. In my case, I used a pine needle garland that had some frosting, a little bit of snow to it, that just gave it a richer, fuller look. Can I just introduce you to the most valuable tool you can have at Christmas time? It'll save your hands, and it will actually cut through whatever. A lot of these garlands have a lot of really thick wire in them. This is Mr. Chompers. Another tip is to feel comfortable and free to cut your garlands up and use them sparingly if you need to. I've got my base together, the main 2 garlands, and then I wove this pine needle with little bits of frosting on them through the corner and into the middle here. It's not a solid piece. I cut each one of them in half. Then I've placed my pine cones, including one that kind of spills onto the floor here. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna add all kinds of picks to fill it out and create something really yummy. probably one of the most important parts is to use what you have to fill in the rest of your garland. Complementary foliage. In my case, I chose things that had an icy feel to them, nothing that was heavily flocked. And I also used some green foliage. The key is whatever you do on one side, you need to do on the other. I'm being careful as I tie these on to continue to go to the main trunk of the first garland that I put on, so that I don't have random things attached to random things. It's all attached to the base. Next, I added the twinkling lights. So I have one string of throbbing lights to go in this whole thing, which means I want to make sure that I don't end up with too much light on one side and not enough on the other. So I just found my halfway point, and I'm going to mark it with a little piece of tape. I'll place that in the center and then work my way out from there. But that little bit of twinkle will just sort of add a sense of magic. Yeah, this is pretty much going to just lay on the surface, and I'll tuck it in as I go along with the other things. But I need to make sure that it went all the way to the floor. And it does. If you want your twinkling aspect to be less obvious, not, so that it gives you a headache, that's never good at Christmas time, or any time really. Then you can sort of tuck them down inside and behind things. You'll still get the effect of the magical twinkling, but it'll come from deeper. You know how I always tell you, put your balls deep in the center? Well, this is the same kind of thing. Put your twinkle lights deeper into the center of your decoration. You'll still get the same magical effect without it being kind of a annoying blink. Next, you need to stand back and look at what you've created. There may be some more bald spots. There may be some spots that, one side turned out bigger and more grand than the other side. Now is your time to edit. You can go through and create a symmetrical look on the corners and get them not to look identical, but to be filled in equally. Just filling in where it looks like I can see the branch or the cord. And the last thing is to add that touch of color, at least on one of the garlands like this. Now, if you were doing a garland and you were going to add colored balls, now's the time. Add your color punch. And in my case, it's all about the berries, baby. That one little clump I first put in, it was pretty, but it wasn't enough. It just sort of got lost. So by adding all these additional picks in here of the larger red berries, not only in the middle, but on the sides, and then I brought it down on the sides as well. You'll notice that my clumping is right here in the center, and then on the two corners, and everything in between is just a lead on to the next beautiful clumping. This, I think, turned out fabulous. If you haven't seen the DIY video of Shara and me doing this tree, you definitely should go see it. We'll put a link in the description box below to that video. Also, at the very end, I decided to add on my very skinny mantle these 6 candles along here, which I think just sort of finish and complete the look of this beautiful fireplace mantle. Thank you for decorating with me today. In my mind, as I'm doing this, I'm doing it because I love to Christmas decorate, and I love it in my own home because I enjoy it. But I also do it for you. So I thought, you know, essentially, if you take your computer, you watch this video, you love it, and you want to recreate it, set your computer or your phone next to your fireplace and turn it on and follow step by step. Essentially, you will be doing your Christmas decorating with me, and nothing makes me happier or brings me more joy. Except, of course, if you gave this video a thumbs up, if you subscribe to my channel, and if you came back for the rest of our Christmas videos this year, because I can guarantee you, not only does this look amazing, but from where I'm sitting, guys, my entire house is now complete, and it brings me so much joy. My earrings, I know, sorry guys, but it's a clapping sound. Let's give a round of applause for the Christmas tree mantle. There's no tree in there at all. All right, it's just the earrings. They're making me crazy.